Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. With the recent chapter of One Piece, we saw that Kizaru and all the rest of the Marines have arrived at Egghead Island. And meanwhile, the Straw Hats are very well fed and ready for the great confrontation that is yet to come. In the upcoming battles, there is a good possibility that the expected fight between Luffy and Kizaru will finally happen. A confrontation which could be as big as Luffy's fight against Kaido. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this possible fight, how it could start, how this confrontation could be, and what consequences it would have at the end of this intense Egghead Island arc. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like, and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, with the recent awakening of Luffy's Devil Fruit, this has granted him the Gear 5th transformation, and it's made Luffy possess an even greater ability to take on more powerful opponents. With this new ability to shape his rubber body according to his imagination, his chances of victory against Kizaru, the Marine Admiral known for his extreme speed, would be significantly increased because Gear 5th would allow Luffy to keep up with Kizaru's light speed, which previously seemed impossible. The confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru could start with the Marines and the Gorosei attacking Egghead Island in search of Vegapunk. Now Luffy and his allies, Jewelry Bonnie and the Straw Hats, would be willing to protect the scientist and even prevent the Marines from taking his life. So the battle would be intense, with Luffy utilizing the full potential of his new form, launching creative and unpredictable attacks, all the while trying to defeat Kizaru. On the other hand, Kizaru is one of the more powerful admirals in the Navy and possesses a devil fruit that allows him to transform into light, becoming intangible and extremely fast. So even with Gear 5th, defeating Kizaru could be an extremely difficult task. A battle between Luffy and Kizaru, of course, would be epic, with both using their unique abilities to the fullest. And Luffy would launch into ferocious attacks, utilizing his flexibility and devastating strength to pressure the Admiral, while Kizaru would use his speed and light power to try and neutralize the Straw Hat pirates. So it'd come down to an endurance fight, and strategy would be the key for either side. Now, the possibility of Luffy actually defeating this Admiral is quite high, especially if he uses Gear 5th, because he could find a way to use his elastic freedom to deflect Kizaru's attacks, or even create unpredictable attacks that take advantage of his body's elasticity to take Kizaru down. So although Kizaru might be powerful, facing Luffy in his awakened state would be a chore, and the Straw Hats' victory would be an incredible achievement, unless the Admiral has an ace up his sleeve. On the other hand, a draw is a real possibility, because Kizaru is one of the Navy's admirals, and his experience, power, and even use of his Devil Fruit are unmatched. And he might even be able to find ways to neutralize Luffy's attacks, or even evade the onslaughts with lightning speed. And even though Luffy has reached Gear 5th, Kizaru is still a formidable opponent who could effectively resist and counter his attacks. As for any potential of Luffy's defeat and capture, that is always a possibility, because One Piece is known for its twists and surprises, and Oda Sensei could opt for that unpredictable plot. The Marines are a powerful force, and with Kizaru at the head, it would be possible for Luffy to be subdued and therefore captured. And this defeat could serve as a moment of growth for this character, propelling him to get stronger and devise even newer strategies to rescue Vegapunk and then deal with the Marines in the future. In a scenario of Luffy's defeat and capture, the rest of the Straw Hats would face a harrowing dilemma, because they'd have to decide between leaving Luffy behind or sacrificing their freedom to try and rescue their captain and friend. And this would be an incredibly difficult position, but most likely their bonds of friendship and camaraderie would lead them to look for a way to free Luffy. But then again, the Marines could use Luffy's capture as a way to lure out the rest of the Straw Hat pirates and take their lives once and for all. Very similar to how the Navy used Ace to take the lives of Whitebeard and most of his crew. Word of Luffy's arrest would spread across the world, prompting other pirates and allies to join in a rescue attempt. And this could result in an even bigger war against the Marines, with various pirate factions uniting against the world government. However, there's also another possibility of a surprising twist. So despite an initial defeat, Luffy could find a way to evade capture, enlisting the help of some unexpected ally. And this escape could lead to a later confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru, where the Straw Hats would demonstrate even greater growth and could finally bring down this admiral. But regardless of the outcome, a confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru would be one of the most emotional and impactful moments in One Piece to date. And additionally, the battle would reveal more about the secrets of the Navy, the world government, and even Vegapunk's past, further pushing the narrative and character's motivation forward. If Luffy Luffy managed to defeat Kizaru, it would represent one of the most defining moments of his journey. In addition to reaffirming his status as one of the most powerful pirates in the world, this victory would also be a significant blow to the Navy and the world government, because this could draw even more attention to Luffy and his crew, increasing their reputation and position as a threat to the established powers. But this victory would not come without cost, because confronting an admiral like Kizaru would be extremely draining, both physically and emotionally, and Luffy would likely be seriously injured and need a lot of time to recover. Besides, the Navy wouldn't just sit still after defeat like that. They would intensify their efforts to capture Luffy and the Straw Hats, and the hunt for them would become even more relentless. And there's even yet another possibility, because let's say there's a draw between Luffy and Kizaru, because both reach their limits, and for some reason the fight is stopped. Perhaps the arrival of a powerful and unpredictable character might intervene to avoid a definitive outcome, such as another admiral, one of the Gorosei, or even one of the Yonko. So this type of scenario would open up countless possibilities for the development of the story, as well as new characters and alliances to be introduced. In the case of Luffy's defeat and capture, this situation would become extremely bleak, and the Navy would finally have managed to eliminate one of the biggest threats that currently stands in their way to achieve their goals, making the defeat of Luffy, one of the most recent Yonko, a big milestone for them. The search for the One Piece treasure would also suffer a major setback, and the crew members would have to face a crossroads in their journey. They would have to decide between abandoning the dream of finding the legendary treasure or joining in a dangerous and risky mission to rescue their captain in a great possible war. But however it plays out, this possible confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru promises to be one of the biggest and most exciting battles in One Piece, because the fate of the Straw Hats, the Navy, and the One Piece world as a whole will be at stake. With this speculation about the possible confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru in One Piece, we can actually see how exciting and unpredictable this moment in history would be. The paths that the narrative could take are countless, with different possible outcomes such as Luffy's victory, a surprising draw, or even the protagonist's defeat and capture. As I said earlier, in the One Piece universe, twists and turns are a constant, and the author Oda-sensei has the talent to surprise us at every step of the Straw Hats' journey. And the relationship between Luffy and the Marines is a mainstay of the narrative, and a battle against an admiral would be a significant milestone for this character's development. So regardless of how this confrontation may unfold, we know that Luffy is always willing to fight for his friends as well as his ideals, and he's known for gathering unlikely allies and overcoming the most impossible of challenges. With the added power now of Gear 5th and the determination of a true pirate, Luffy could prepare to face any opponent, be it a feared Admiral Kizaru or any other threat that crosses his path. So for now, we can only look forward to the next adventures of this incredible story, which continues to captivate and thrill millions and millions around the world. And meanwhile, we're going to continue to speculate and imagine what the future holds for Luffy and his loyal companions. Undoubtedly, Luffy's journey towards becoming the Pirate King is going to continue to defy the odds and thrill us fans, with the uncertainty of the future keeping anticipation and excitement extremely high with each new development. So for now, all we can do is look forward to the next chapters of Egghead's epic saga, await the next events to unfold, and thusly, the great journey in search of the One Piece treasure will continue, filled with mysteries, challenges, and intense emotions. So with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. What do you think the possibility of Luffy and Kizaru fighting actually will be? We've also got another video on our channel about Kizaru being the opponent of actually Zoro, because we've always seen Kizaru act as a swordsman. So do you think it's going to come down to Luffy or Zoro being the one to take the Great Admiral down? Next, because of a seemingly deep relationship that Kizaru has had with Vegapunk, how do you think that might influence his fight? Do you think Kizaru is actually gonna hold his line and be the actual admiral he needs to be? Or could there be some different development? Because we know that Kizaru doesn't have that same sense of justice as, say, Akainu. So could Kizaru see reason and actually see that the Navy, or at least the world government, really is the enemy here? And finally, how do you think the Gorosei Saturn is gonna play into this? Now, nobody's supposed to know that he's there, and we still don't know what his powers are or really how powerful or even old he is. But how do you think the Gorosei will fit into this whole overarching battle? Let us know what you think about all that in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video for the day, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.